Yo, what's happening everyone? Welcome to the channel. This is Cheeky here, and today we are going to be doing a quick beginner's guide to everyone's favourite gorilla, well at least mine, and it's Winston. So Winston is a tank in Overwatch 2, and in this we're going to kind of go over his abilities, how you can apply them in your games, a bit of playstyle, and then what we'll do, we'll jump into a game, and you can see kind of like applying these principles in a match. So let's go straight into it. Primary fire for Winston is his Tesla cannon. It's this short range electricity, as you see here. I'm not hitting him, but you go a bit closer and you can hit people. It doesn't do loads of damage, but you can hit multiple people at a time, which you can see there. It also does go through barriers as well, so something like Reinhardt or Sigma barrier, any kind of like deployable barriers, it goes through them. It won't go through something like a Zarya barrier, but it does go through like things like Sigma and Reinhardt. But yeah, so that's his primary fire. He actually has a secondary fire now in Overwatch 2, didn't used to have it, and that's his kind of charge up long range shot. So he kind of charges up, you can hold it for a few seconds, but then it will auto fire. And see that kind of circle gathering in the middle? That shows you kind of until it gets to the maximum charge. And that does consume more ammo. I believe it's 12 there that it's using. And it does about 50 damage, I believe. So it should take 4 shots to finish off a 200 HP bot. There you go. And it's got a really good range. If I go down here, I could probably pop one of these bots from here, like so. You know, that's pretty good range for Winston. No damage fall off, so still just four shots to hit the enemy, and then it takes them out. So yeah, that's this kind of extra way of doing like a little bit of poke damage from range for Winston. So you can kind of combine those, so you know, you're just hitting a long range shot, and then when you get close, you can switch to your short range. And if someone tries to run away, you can just go boop, and then just hit them one more time if they're trying to escape. So really handy that Winston got that. It really does help his play style. So going on to his abilities now, he's got his barrier projector, so that's on the right bumper, and it's on his E on keyboard. But you pop down a bubble, and that kind of puts this barrier down. It's actually a perfect sphere. It does go under the floor, so if you were to put it on something like a bridge, it would go a little bit underneath it, as you'd see. But yeah, so it's like a kind of more tactically used. You can see it there; it goes a bit below itself. It's tactically used, so it's more for blocking big abilities or high bursts of damage. But as you can see, it doesn't last long, doesn't have a lot of HP. So you really want to use it to engage and block abilities. Say you're engaging on something like an Ana or a Roadhog. If you just time that perfectly, block their sleep dart, block the hook. And what you can do with Winston is kind of dance in and out of it. And because you can damage through your own barriers, of course, you can damage through any barriers anyway, as Winston. But you can kind of like utilize it to like dodge it, because if you pop that down, an enemy's going to try and come inside to fight you so they can get you. So you kind of use the edge of it and kind of jiggle around the edge of the barrier, and that keep them kind of guessing where you're going to be, and that way it can just be a little bit more effective of just blocking kind of a little bit more damage, because they will try and come inside and try and do damage to you from inside your bubble. That's kind of his bubble. It's not really much else to say about it, really. It's really of a tactical thing. As you see, his bubble's on a big cooldown. 12 seconds is a long time for Winston, because moving on to his next ability, which is his jump pack, where he just kind of like leaps forwards in any direction. So if I'm walking this way, if you see, that's on like a 5-second cooldown. So when you go in, if you dive in with your barrier, pop it down 12 seconds without it then, so that you see you get your jump back before you get your barrier up. So it's important to note that your barrier is on a longer cooldown. But the jump pack, as I said, any direction you're facing up, he'll jump up. If you're facing forward, he'll jump forward. And you can actually move quite a lot in the air. So if I just hold left, see, I just landed on top of this roof, even though I wasn't looking at the roof. So yeah, that's Winston's leap. You can kind of go like round corners and things. And what it does is, it's hard to see in first person view, but you'll see it when Winston does land. It lands with like a shock wave. There you go, you can see it there. And it pushes people and does damage to them. It does a lot more damage depending on how accurate you are. If you land right on top of someone, I believe it does a burst of about 40 damage. So yeah, if you land direct on them, you can do a lot more damage. And what you can actually do with his leap, you can actually optimize the way that it works by leaping combined with your primary fire, and you can like slip in a melee right at the last second, and it'll do way more damage. Let me see if I can show you how to do that. So it's really hard to see, but you can sneak a melee in almost like frame perfect. So if I try and show you a normal leap, Actually, let's use Tracer that she's, you know, one target and I'm not going to, like, accidentally damage. So if I just do a normal leap. So there you go. That's 50 of her health, actually. Let me just finish her off quick. Pow! And then what I'll do is I'll try and sneak the melee in just before on this one. And you'll see the difference in damage that it does. So I just snuck that melee in. Okay, so now she's below half, right? So it's a lot more damage. And what you can also do, if I just combine that with a primary fire as well, a little bit of tickle before I land, even more damage, okay? And then if you really get advanced with Winston, you can do a charged up long range shot and then jump in and then do even more damage. But that's really tricky to hit, especially on a moving target. Of course, that Tracer is standing still, making it super easy. But yeah, what you can kind of do with Winston is charge up, shoot, and then you kind of do that really big burst of damage, and he could be very lethal when you do that. But again, really tricky to do. It's maybe more of like a use as a poking tool, and if you see somebody's low, you can just go in and just start doing damage to them. And something to note, that if you're doing your primary fire damage, Winston, slightly higher damage per second to slip melees in. Of course, melees have a little bit worse range, but it is definitely slightly kind of faster to do it that way. And also your ammo will last longer, you won't have to reload so much. But again, this can hit multiple people. So in the situation where there's more than one person, definitely just use your primary fire. You'll get your ultimate much quicker by doing more cleave damage on several people. So those are Winston's basic abilities. Again, he's got his kind of like combo of zap, jump in, slam melee, and you can really kind of help your team to finish people off. You're really kind of rarely going to finish people off on your own unless they're very isolated. And finally, his ultimate. So his ultimate is what we'd call like a transformational ultimate. So he transforms into a giant gorilla instead of just his normal gorilla. Let me just change these to the rocket bots because they do a lot more damage. And what you can do with Winston's ultimate, he instantly goes to 1000 HP. So even though I'm 152 health, I pop my ultimate. I'm in the training range, so it's only 900, but it will be 1000 when you go into game. And what that does is you get your jump pack much quicker, if you can see. You can't use your barrier in this form, in his primal rage, but you can use your jump pack way more. And also, his primary fire turns into these swings. He doesn't have a secondary fire. And what that does, it pushes people, and you can just jump and then push, and then you get your jump back, and you just, you know, you can push people around and kind of bully them with his ultimate pretty well. What you really want to be doing with it is displacing people is the kind of best thing you can do with his ultimate. But if you can even better than that, if you can displace someone and get them into a corner, you can jump, pop that, and you get your jump back immediately as well. And you can see if you get that bot in the corner, there's not much they can do because they're just constantly being pushed by me. Yeah, and what you can do if you're very good, it takes a lot of practice with Winston, is you can do something called juggling. I can't do it. I haven't just spent the time to actually train to do it. I've been playing the game really, but what you really can be doing is you can kind of time your swings and your jumps to just keep someone in the air and keep moving them around the map. It takes a lot of skill and perfect timing to do. But the theory of it is that you push someone, when you jump on them you land, and then you push them again, and then you jump and land, and then you push them again, and you can just keep pushing them around the map, and you can even take people on a massive journey all the way off the map. But yeah, something I did kind of mention slightly earlier, but I'll just mention it again, which is pretty useful. You jump with Winston, pop your ultimate, you get your jump straight away again, which is something quite kind of important to note that you can do. And then actually, if you time your last jump, you can I didn't time it very well there, but what you can do is you can time your last jump so that when your ultimate runs out, you'll get your jump back again. So say I just kind of do my ultimate, I'm jumping around, jumping, going around here, and I'll get one more jump in, right, and then I'll get my last jump in, see, and then it'll reset and I'll get my jump back. So just things to note, of course, when you're in ultimate, you're much bigger, much easier to hit. You probably will get low health in it, so something to note is that last jump, you can get one jump in and with your ultimate, and then get your other jump back and get even further away from the enemy, which will come in handy to note that. So that's kind of Winston's abilities, how they work, how to play Winston really. He's what we call a dive tank, but he's pretty technical in how you want to play him, because you really want to be kind of you do need to, of course, play corners like most tanks, but a little less so maybe with Winston. He's more of like a punishment of mistakes for sure. A bit more like kind of diva in that way. But you don't want to be just like jumping into the enemy team, popping your bubble and just going around crazy, because they will just focus you. The bubble doesn't have much health, and you will just get kind of ruined. What you kind of want to be doing is creating space for your team by being a threat around the map. So say these kind of guys there were just kind of harassing my team, I would try and look to kind of soft engage, so get in close and maybe try and find a corner. Wait, kind of maybe get them, like, let them kind of respect me a little bit close on the corner. Try and get them to kind of get their team out of position a little bit for when I really want to engage on them with all my abilities and my, you know, barrier and stuff. And my team will hopefully be closer with me, because of course something you need to remember with Winston is that I have great movement, but my team might not. Okay, especially of course just in a normal game of Overwatch, you're not playing as a team with like much less comms and coordination. So you want to be kind of, say, I don't know, taking an enemy, say this kind of sniper bot over here is in a good position. You kind of want to be forcing him away from this position. Okay, so get in there and be a bit annoying. If you can just dive in and kind of displace their team, split them up, even better. So say for example here there's two bots there. If I jump in and pop a barrier down, they're more likely to go, like, not go in the same direction as each other. And then you just find the one that's kind of out on their own and just follow them and keep zapping them. You know, this damage is mostly unblockable. So that's kind of what you want to be doing as Winston. It's kind of like, if you think like a trapdoor spider, right? You're just waiting on a place, waiting for to pounce, and you pounce and you get in there and start doing your work, jiggling in and out of your barrier as well to dodge the damage. Yeah, he's a pretty big hitbox, so you will get focused pretty heavy. As people like Reaper or Diva, they got shotgun characters. They just Roadhog, of course, just cause you an absolute world of pain. But you want to be aiming for the smaller, like lower HP targets, diveable characters that don't have easy escapes, characters that don't have abilities that will really shut you down. Something like, say, diving on an Ana is risky, but if you kind of pop your bubble, you can even pop it in the air to try and anticipate the sleep. If you can make her miss a sleep dart, she's going to have a much harder time dealing with you. But if she hits the sleep dart, you're going to have a horrible time dealing with her. So this is things like really kind of really technical, takes a little bit of practice, but I do really encourage playing Winston. He's brilliant fun. You know, you can, like that, you just knock people back with your jump, but it doesn't happen that often. It's pretty small boop. It's much easier with your ultimate because they go much further, much easier to get people off the map. So yeah, that's kind of Winston's playstyle. He, like I said, dive, but kind of situational diving. You can't just heavy dive. It's not like maybe like a wrecking ball where you just kind of have to swing through and slam down on the enemy. You kind of just be one of, fine, say like that bot. This is 4 people of the team. That's one. Okay, definitely going over there. Like, there's no question. Gonna take that guy out rather than try and take on 4 people. But or also, like, if the team are on the high ground, for example, like this guy's on the high ground, I want to get up there with him and try and scare him off the high ground, because he's probably got a good angle on my team. Yeah, what we're going to do now, we're going to jump into a game and put some of this to practice. But what I would do is I'll just cut the video here and we'll go into a next video. So if you're feeling jazzy and you want to go try out Winston already, please do. But if you want to join me in the practice game, where I show you kind of like applying skills in a match, we'll jump on to the next video. So I'll see you there.